Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube today. Hello, friends. Your ridiculously over good brother, Anthony Florio here, joined by the phenom Michael Bullock and the Twisted Angel, D.D. Woodson. I don't know if good old MF Michael Fletcher will be with us tonight. I haven't heard from him or anything, so if he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll see what happens as far as tomorrow's Cerebral Smack Talk is concerned. But for right now, tonight we're going to be we're going to go over what ended up being a snoozer edition of Monday Night Raw. If I'm going to be honest with you, yeah, quite a bit of a snooze fest this evening. Even though it did have some moments, and what a way to start it off here, as we were live from the Moda Center, formerly the Rose Garden in Portland, Oregon, the home of the Portland Trailblazers of the NBA. And we started it off with the commissioner of Monday Night Raw, the one and only Stephanie McMahon. And she brought out the winner of this year's Women's Royal Rumble match, the man, Becky Lynch. And you noticed Becky has a knee injury. You saw what happened in the Royal Rumble match. Nia Jax pretty much caused that. And Becky, on one good leg, somehow managed to win the Royal Rumble match against Charlotte Flair at the end. But Stephanie McMahon didn't hold back. And she pointed out Becky's injury, and she asked Becky, why haven't you seen a doctor about this? You need to see a doctor about this. And Becky's like, you're not taking my moment from me. And Becky kept refusing, and Stephanie, being in that vintage authority mode, was ready to throw the book at Becky Lynch here, saying, Becky, if you don't see a doctor, I'm going to be forced to suspend you. And Becky refused and refused and refused and refused. And then Stephanie basically had no choice. Stephanie McMahon indefinitely suspends Becky Lynch from WWE until she sees the doctor. And Becky was so upset about it, she actually went after Stephanie McMahon. She absolutely tore into Stephanie McMahon. They went at it. The crowd popped big for this, and then escorted out by Gestapo security guards. And all I can say was this was far and away the segment of the night. This was a very good angle. Stephanie played it straight and didn't come off as condescending. And it will be interesting to see if Steph stays in neutral mode or if this will lead to Stone Cold Becky and Miss McMahon. The crowd was totally behind Becky, and they popped big for her attack, even though Stephanie did not heal it up. The question now here is whether Becky Lynch's storyline injury is the company's way of adding Charlotte Flair to the match, or if this is going in a different direction. But whatever the case may be, this was, without question, the segment of the night. And, it's obvious Becky's going to be going to Raw very soon. And if that's the case, how's Stephanie going to control her? I have no clue. So, who knows? This could be the female version of Austin and McMahon. We all remember Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon. That epic rivalry for the ages 20 years ago. Could this be the female version of it? If it is, I'd be down with it. I would love to see it. So, if this is the direction they're going to go, sign me up. I'm in. So, nothing more to say on this segment of the night, hands down. So Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on this opening segment with Stephanie McMahon, Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch indefinitely suspended. But Bullock, come on in. I'm just wondering your thoughts on this, number one. And number two, well, all right. I think Michael Bullock probably stepped aside for a moment. So, there you are, Bullock. Okay. Your thoughts on the opening segment with Stephanie McMahon and Becky Lynch, number one, and number two, have you recovered from last night yet?
Yes, I have. I have recovered from last night's Super Bowl and our gathering, and there it is, Florio. You said?
Yeah, you had some shopping to do, and you obviously did some shopping today.
Yep. So there it is. All right, now getting back to this. Yeah, this was a strong segment here. I mean, I thought Becky Lynch played it out really good. I mean, Stephanie McMahon kept telling her, "Look, I mean, why won't you have that knee looked by doctors? I mean, because this could be serious." But Becky Lynch, being that that fiery woman that she is, she says, like, "I'm not going to let any doctor touch me, and if they do, I'll break their damn arm." And Becky Lynch, well, Stephanie McMahon basically said, "You know what? Since you're not going to do that, you're suspended indefinitely until you see a doctor." And then what does she do? Becky Lynch cold clocks Stephanie McMahon and then tries to get the disarm her on her, but of course the knee injury didn't allow her to complete it. So yeah, obviously with this, I guess they want to keep her off TV for now, especially with the injury, so they can have her ready to go for the match with Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. So this was one of the few good highlights of this Monday Night Raw. So nothing more to say. Dee Dee Winston, I give it to you.
Yeah, this was definitely the segment of the night. And, honestly, I can see Stephanie's point of view, why she suspended her. She wants Becky at 100% for this main event, and she wants to make sure how bad the injury is. If it's not going to be something that's going to be long term to keep her out of WrestleMania, and of course Lynch, more worried that she's going to lose her opportunity. So yeah, like I said, I can understand Stephanie's point of view. I kind of can agree with Stephanie on the suspension to try to encourage Becky to get checked out. Try to get healthy so that they can have this match, because you want your top competitors here at 100% for a match like this, and Becky just is seeing red and not seeing the big picture here of why they're asking her to do this. So yeah, definitely segment of the night, definitely a good way to open a Raw. So since Fletch is here, I'm going to toss it to Fletch.
All right, MF. MF has made it. So MF, we just got into the opening segment. Stephanie McMahon in there with your girl Becky Lynch. Now, I'm not the Becky Lynch follower like you are. I mean, MF, of course, is the one who covers Becky Lynch more than anybody, especially since she was the heart and soul of SmackDown Live. So, MF, I'm very curious. Is this injury a legitimate one, or is this a storyline one?
This is actually, it looks like this is storyline driven. I haven't heard anything about a legit injury on Becky Lynch. I think what they're going to do is they're going to try to hold her off. And it could also be another momentum shift because of the fact that, they just want to keep her off TV, not put her in any harm's way, because she is guaranteed a shot at WrestleMania. However, Becky went the wrong way with this tonight. Even though I love what she did and everything else, Becky, sweetheart, you crossed the line. You went after Stephanie McMahon, and Stephanie was doing the right thing. She was doing the legal thing. What she's trying to do is that she can't be medically cleared unless the knee is checked out. Now, of course, if you're outside of the loop, WWE doctors doesn't really have a really good reputation as of late as it pertains to wrestlers and injuries and whatnot. A lot of them are pretty sketchy at best. But this is a real bad situation that Becky got herself into. Now she made it worse by attacking Stephanie McMahon. Not a good thing to do to get off on the right foot when you're on Monday Night Raw. But I understand why they did it, just to make sure that everything's fine. And remember, Stephanie said it best. When Nia broke her face leading up to Survivor Series, Becky tried to deny access to the doctors. She didn't want doctors' help, but after she went, that's when they told her she couldn't fight at Survivor Series. So maybe she's feeling like, if I don't go to the doctors now, they're not going to prevent me from getting my shot at WrestleMania. But I don't know. So no, I haven't heard no news about Becky being seriously hurt. From what I know, this is kind of more storyline driven than anything else. But I do know they've been keeping her off the road, out off of house shows, but I think that's more promo driven and storyline driven more than an actual injury, because I have not heard anything about a legit injury on Becky Lynch. So I think it is storyline driven, Anthony.
All right, very well. But without question, that definitely was the segment of the night, hands down. So all right, then it led into, of course, Becky Lynch's opponent, I beg your pardon, Ronda Rousey, the Raw Women's Champion. They had a heated moment backstage as Becky was being led out by the Gestapo security guards. And Ronda, adding to that incredible heated promo from last week, got in her face again. And then from there, it led into Ronda Rousey going against the Riot Squad, basically. I mean, first it was a singles match against Liv Morgan. Of course, Ronda won that in a minute and a half, so we're gonna nix that. Well, obviously we're gonna nix both matches because they were pretty short. She made quick work of Liv Morgan in about a minute and a half. She got a little more of a fight from Sarah Logan, but still the Rowdy one, had no trouble with her. So I'll sum it up by saying it was an interesting night for Ronda Rousey, who was made to look dominant over two members of the Riot Squad. And I like that they at least saved the Ruby Riott match for a later date. Of course, the most interesting part of the segment was Rousey showing some signs of a heel turn, healing on the fans who booed her. I mean, yeah, she was still smiling on her way to the ring, being nice to the kids and received mostly cheers. So I can't quite say she has turned heel as much as it seems like she's simply responding to her haters. And of course, let's be realistic. As far as this Ronda and Becky thing goes, the crowd is pro Becky, anti Ronda. And that's all I can say on that. And if this ends up holding up until Mania, can you imagine 80,000 at MetLife, the Meadowlands? That's gonna be a pro Becky crowd all the way. Let's not kid ourselves. So that's all we can say on that. Now we move on to a match that, as the old saying goes, don't judge a book by its cover. Now, that applies perfectly to this match here. It's a fatal four-way match to determine the number one contenders for the Raw Tag Team Championships. The Heavy Machinery, the Lucha House Party, the B-Team, and the Revival. Now you think, oh, this is an automatic cutout. Oh, no, it's not. Winners of the match in 11 minutes and 20 seconds. Say yeah. The Revival. The Revival get it done. The Shatter Machine on Bo Dallas. MF, I mean, here we go again. The Revival get yet another shot at Roode and Gable for the Raw Tag Team Championship. Hopefully this time there's not going to be any nonsense out of it.
Well, we'll have to wait and see because there isn't much hope about with the Revival now because of the fact that, you know, there are rumors about them wanting to leave WWE, and now that there is talk about that if they do leave that they might go to All Elite. So now you kind of wonder, where is the direction of the Revival? Where do they stand in the line of the totem pole of WWE? I'm happy that they won. I'm happy they're getting the opportunity. And you're absolutely right. This would have been normally any other time you're thinking, oh, God, cut out. But no, guys, this was a solid 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. I thought this was a solid fight. Well done. Everybody played their parts really well. And in my opinion, the right team won. You know, Heavy Machinery, brand new. You don't want to jump them right away. Of course, the B team was one of those teams that, you know, a lot of people liked, but they kind of were limping into the opportunity. And I don't really am really sold on any other teams. Revival right now is the most worthy competitors, and in my mind, the most worthy challengers to the Raw Tag Team Championship. So good job, WWE. Good job by the booking, by the writers and the bookers on this one. They got it right in my mind. So nothing more to say, Michael Bullock. I give it to you.
Yeah, I'll give it about 2.5 to 3 stars as well. I mean, this was turned out to be a much better match than what I expected. I mean, when I first heard of the match, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be a cutout. This is gonna be a snooze fest. But oh, this turned out to be much better than what I expected. So, yeah, the Revival get another chance. I mean, hopefully they can cash in this time. But like you said, the thing is, I mean, we've heard those same rumors about them wanting to be released from WWE. So I think what happens when they do face Roode and Gable, that could determine what happens. I mean, if they win, I think that maybe they stay in WWE. But if they lose, who knows? I think they could be gone. So yeah, and really nothing more for me to say. So I'm just gonna give it to you, Dee Woodson.
Yeah, I'll agree with the rating, and you know, it was kind of a surprise to see the Revival come out on top at the end, because you know they look like one of the underdogs compared to Heavy Machinery. But then again, you know they're new. They haven't been placed on either show yet. You know, it makes more sense to do an established team winning this. Whether or not, you know, they cash it out or not, or go to another company, you know, that's something we'll have to wait and see. That there's just a lot of rumors going around on this and no confirmations yet. So, not much more I'm going to say about it. Blair, what's yours?
Sleeper fight of the night here, guys. Sleeper fight of the night. 3 stars. That's my rating for this. But yes, I mean, the babyface teams both came off dorky and are too heavily geared toward kids. The live crowds are reacting to Otis Dozovic and his Caterpillar move for now. But I got a feeling that's going to burn out quickly unless some tweaks are made. Lucha House Party are presented like 3 interchangeable masked guys with completely one-dimensional personas. I want to be excited about the Revival winning like MF, but the Raw Tag Division, MF nailed it. It is beyond a disaster. And most of these teams are severely damaged. Are they ever going to decide which brands will be home for the NXT call-ups? That's all I know. And then we had another segment here. We had Kurt Angle come out. They hyped this as Kurt Angle addressing his future with WWE. And, you know, he spoke about the 3 I's, and then they turned into the 3 D's: doubt, defeat, and depression. went over his accomplishments, and he says that there's one opponent that I cannot beat, and it's an opponent that eventually none of us will be able to beat. He's always undefeated, Father Time. We all know that. But then Kurt Angle was interrupted by Constable Bleepface, as I call him, Baron Corbin, and then Drew McIntyre comes out, and they try to get the upper hand on Kurt Angle. That is until the monster among men, Braun Strowman, shows up, and that was an interesting segment. I mean, and then it led into a match for later on, the tag team match, Braun Strowman and Kurt Angle squaring off against Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin. And I'll take that any day of the week. I mean, a lot of people were worried that little Nicholas might show up again, but no, don't worry, he won't. So, okay. Then we move on to the qualifying match for the women's tag team championships, the final match for the Raw side. We have Sasha Banks and Bayley squaring off against the unlikely team of Nikki Cross and Alicia Fox. Winners of the match, I do not have a time. I'm sorry. Sasha Banks and Bayley. No big surprise here. So we've got our 3 teams for Raw. We got Sasha Banks and Bayley, Nia Jax and Tamina, and Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan of the Riot Squad. I don't think any of us are surprised by those 3 teams. And as for SmackDown Live, they didn't even have to qualify for their matches. Absolution threw their hat into the mix, and the Iconics threw their hat into the mix. They didn't even have to qualify. So,
and Anthony, I just want to let you know there was a 3rd team that got added. WWE just confirmed it on Super Bowl Sunday. Carmella and Naomi is the final tag team. So the 6 are now locked in.
It's very interesting that the Raw teams had to qualify, whereas the SmackDown ones didn't have to. But oh well, I guess that's how they wanted to do it, I guess. So, but nonetheless, Bullet, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on this matchup here. Sasha and Bayley against Nikki Cross and Alicia Fox. Another solid matchup here. So, Bullock, are you there? Let's get your thoughts.
Yeah, I thought this was a good match here. I mean, let me just try to find I can try to get the time of the fall. I'm going to the 411 here to. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. I thought I had it here. Oh, yeah. I mean, this. It's funny that you say that. I mean, with the 3 Raw teams basically had qualification matches, while basically the SmackDown teams had none. So I don't have it either. So if I had to rank the match here, I'm gonna give it about and if I get this wrong, I do apologize for it. I'm gonna give it probably about another 2.5 to 3 to say exact. Like I said, if I got this wrong, I do apologize. So, but yeah, it was a good match here. So, yeah, basically, like you said, the field is now all set. So, nothing more to say. Didi Whitson, I give it to you.
I'll probably go about 2 stars. It was interesting the way it started. I mean, they didn't even get to walk out to the ring before, Fox and Nikki were out there just beating the crap out of both Sasha and Bayley. I mean, but in the end, they did pull it off. I'm surprised Nikki Cross didn't turn on Alicia Fox at the end when Alicia said that it was Nikki's fault that they lost. But yeah, it wasn't I wouldn't call it the best tag team match for the girls, but it was all right. I mean, it was enough to kind of bring everybody at least a little bit back up after, the whole Angle bit that we kind of want to go away with Corbin and McIntyre. So not much more I'm going to say about it. Florio, it's yours.
Solid 2.5. I mean, the pre-match attack was well done and fit with the personas of Cross and Fox. That said, I kind of hope that Cross and Fox are kept away from one another unless changes are made to the Foxy character. Nikki Cross plays a believable crazy, whereas Fox goes so far over the top that she comes off hokey and unrealistic, or as our boy JR would always say, NMF, goofy as a pet coon. But, they laid it on pretty thick with the emotional post-match celebration for Banks and Bayley. I suspect they're going to win the tag titles, but I know there are some out there who are hoping that, Sasha turns heel and, we'll see how that goes. But my gut is telling me that Sasha and Bayley are gonna win those tag titles in the Chamber, but we'll find out. You never know. So I'm gonna give it 2.5 for the effort. So mainly because of that pre-match attack. So that's all I can say there. So MF, we got our 6, and Bayley and Sasha, no big surprise, but Nikki and Alicia, yeah, that was interesting. Both come off goofy as pet coons, especially Alicia.
Yeah, but the thing is that with Alicia Fox, you try to stay as far away from her. With Nikki Cross, I don't know. Quite a few people don't mind wanting to play with Nikki, if you know what I mean. But that's for another day. No, I'm with you guys. This is about maybe 2.25 stars. I'm not gonna say much about it. I mean, it was fine for what it was worth, but yeah. The people who got through on Raw, no big surprise, no shocker there. And then as far as the SmackDown, yeah, I'm a little surprised that they had them doing that kind of route. But, it is what it is. Nothing more to say. Florio, yeah, it's back to you.
Yeah, I think it's because maybe the Raw women's division had more talent to work with. That's probably why they did the qualifying matches. The SmackDown side, not so much. So,
which I agree with. And plus, if you talk about the SmackDown side, you could tell who are the more established women. So like Iconics, no big surprise. Absolution, no big surprise. I think the only surprise that we got is Carmella and Naomi teaming up and working together, because there isn't really a true third tag team. Now, if it was Naomi and Asuka, understandable, but Asuka's the women's champion. You don't want to double dip. So it's kind of in a situation where this was the best case scenario out of anything, because there's really no other women on SmackDown. Charlotte Flair, the queen, is locked up. She's probably either A, going after the SmackDown women's title, or B, she might find herself in WrestleMania with Ronda and Becky. Asuka's locked up because she's the SmackDown women's champion. So there's really no other women I could think of. Lana's hurt, selling the ankle injury, and now she's healed, so that's not going to work. I don't know. I mean, SmackDown women, yeah, there's a little bit of a conundrum there. So I don't know where else they could have gone. Maybe if they would have, maybe Lacey and Charlotte together, but I think Lacey's better on Raw, not SmackDown. I don't know.
All right, let's move on to this interesting matchup here. Out of retirement, the Hall of Famer, Double J, Jeff Jarrett, squaring off against Elias. Road Dogg, by the way, was in Jarrett's corner. Obviously being the quote-unquote roadie, like we all remember about a quarter century ago. But nonetheless, it was Elias who picked up the win over the Hall of Famer, 7 minutes and 20 seconds. I've lost track on who starts it off here. Didi does. That's right. So Didi, I'm very curious. How did Jarrett look in his first match on Raw in nearly 2 decades?
I mean, you got to think here. It's like Kurt Angle. He's up there in age. Probably shouldn't be out there doing this stuff anymore. But compared to some of the other Hall of Famers that's been in the ring, he looked pretty good. I mean, because he was the first one that brought in the guitar shot. And, here Elias is now doing it. But did anybody notice the guitar that Jarrett used didn't break? It wasn't the breakaway guitar that they usually use. So I'm sure there's a few whelps that may be on Elias's back from that. I'm going to give this probably, I'll probably say this is about another 2-star. I mean, it wasn't the best in the world, but hey, who doesn't like to hear JJ and Road Dogg sing, the song that they've sang for years and years. So, hey, half decent match, not the best in the world, but hey, better than what we get from most of the old guys that come back. So, Floyd, what's yours?
Solid 2 for the effort. I mean, Jeff Jarrett's first match on a Monday Night Raw since September 27th of 1999, the night after the Unforgiven pay-per-view. And that was before Jarrett went to WCW and did a lot of stuff over there. But it was okay for what it was. I mean, Didi's right. I mean, Jarrett, he's not getting any younger like Kurt Angle. I mean, yeah, this is not the Jeff Jarrett of 20 years ago when he was in his 30s and, being one of the most entertaining guys, especially when they went to WCW and tweaked his character there. And, was he fun to watch there? Let me tell you. But, that Jarrett's long gone. But I'll be honest. As a true diehard wrestling fan, I'm digging this, actually. I mean, I love seeing, all these legends and Hall of Famers, coming back. I mean, seeing Jarrett and the Roadie again, I mean, that brings back memories from 25 or so years ago. It's great from a nostalgic point. It's great. But Jeff Jarrett obviously I don't know if any of you heard, has signed a new deal with WWE to be a producer. So that's a great addition to that side of it. But there are some that, aren't really all excited about it all these years later. I mean, they felt that the Rumble was fun, They had a fun moment at the Rumble, and then, they were fine with, being on the show last week for those who didn't see the Royal Rumble. And it felt like overkill a little bit. But, there are people in WWE that are having more fun with this than some of the fans are. But this fan is, actually okay with it. So obviously there's more to come. So that's really all I can say on that. So solid 2 for the effort. So MF, how did Double J look in his first Raw match in, I would say, about 19 plus years or so?
Well, I mean, nothing to write home about. I mean, it was a solid performance. It was all right, to say the very least. 2 stars, I'll give the match. But as far as anything else goes, I don't think it was yes, it was a highly anticipated match because they were hyping this one all week from the minute that we found out about this fight. But at the end of the day, I mean, it was all right, but nothing to write home about. Sorry to say. 2 stars, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I agree. This was definitely a 2-star match. I mean, it was good, like you said, but nothing really to write home about when it comes to this. Jeff Jarrett looked okay, but as we said, he ain't getting any younger. So nothing more to say. I'm just gonna give it to you, Florio.
A quick news and views item here. 3 weeks from tonight on Monday Night Raw, we're going to have a 70th birthday celebration for the one and only Nature Boy Ric Flair. How awesome is that? I mean,
Woo!
woo! Yes, sir. 3 weeks from tonight in the ATL, as MF calls it, in Atlanta. A 70th birthday celebration for the Nature Boy Ric Flair. I mean, that's going to be hella fun. I got a great feeling about that. I mean, I am hopeful that we'll get to see, some more, legends and Hall of Famers show up for that. I mean, that's going to be so fun. I can't wait for that. 70th birthday for Ric Flair in a few weeks. That's going to be pretty cool. So that's one news and views item. Another quick news and views item. They've already announced that April 15th and April 16th, Superstar Shakeup time, guys. Superstar Shakeup. But only this time, it's going to have an international feel because it's going to emanate from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, in the Bell Center, the home of the Canadians. So, April 15th and 16th, the Superstar Shakeup, following the week after WrestleMania 35. So, if it holds true to form, I got a feeling that Monday Night Raw is due for a big year. I'm hoping that Monday Night Raw will rob SmackDown Live blind, like SmackDown Live robbed Raw blind a year ago. So,
I think what's going to happen is, yes, Raw's going to get better talent, but I think SmackDown Live is going to get some big names themselves because remember, in October, they're going to Fox. So they're going to need some big money people to go over there. So I think what's going to happen is the most athletic, the most wrestling, and probably the most biggest names. I could see guys like Bobby Lashley. I could see guys like that, like true wrestlers, true performers. I think they're going to look for a wrestling aspect. So I think you're going to see a lot of technical wrestlers and a lot of good high flying guys. So this could be more not Raw being rated, but I could see 205 getting rated and some NXT guys getting rated that could be heading over to SmackDown. As far as Raw to SmackDown, I would like to see a few guys go. I think the one person they're going to want to rob, and I hate to say this, and it could happen, Seth Rollins to SmackDown Live. I'm calling it. Rollins to SmackDown Live, but I'll give you a nice little caveat. AJ Styles to Raw.
Oh, I would love that. That would be a fair. That would be the only way I would get over my frontline soldier going to SmackDown Live. So we'll find that out, and we're exactly 8 months away. It's going to be Friday, October 4th. That's the day. Mark it down. October 4th. That's when we'll get the first SmackDown Live. The first Friday night, the return, if you will, of Friday Night SmackDown on October the 4th on Fox. So we'll see how that all goes down in 8 months. All right, that takes care of the news and those two quick news and views items I wanted to get off my chest. So then we had Finn Balor coming out, and it was scheduled to be Finn Balor against Bobby Lashley, but Bobby Lashley says you should go against somebody your own size. So you're gonna go up against Lio Rush, and if you impress me enough, maybe I'll give you an Intercontinental title shot down the line. So we had Finn Balor against Lio Rush. Finn Balor wins the match in 8 minutes. I'll give that about a solid 2.5 for the effort. I mean, the segment was decent, with Balor's struggles, with Rush being explained nicely due to his storyline injuries. And it's 2 weeks in a row that Lashley or Rush took a jab at Brock Lesnar. So it's safe to assume maybe it could lead to something, because I know that's a match they've been talking about doing. Bobby Lashley against Brock Lesnar. So I'm going to give the match 2.5 stars for the effort. Now, MF, if they do Lashley and Lesnar anytime soon, get ready for what could be one of the greatest, if not maybe the greatest, be a man fight of all time.
Yeah, but the problem is Lesnar going to be around for that fight to happen? Meaning, the contract of Brock Lesnar runs out after WrestleMania. And if rumors are accurate, and I do mean accurate, there was talk about maybe a Chris Jericho versus Brock Lesnar in All Elite Wrestling. So, if you're going to do a fight like that, you might want to try to do it sooner than you think, because you might not be able to pull the trigger on a fight between Lashley and Lesnar. If anything, you had the golden opportunity 1 year ago when Lashley was coming back and Lesnar was still going around. So I don't think it's going to happen, Anthony. I'll believe it when I see it, but I don't think we're going to get a Lesnar Lashley. Sorry, I don't. It's great. It's a great pipe dream, to say the very least, and that probably would be an interesting matchup, but nothing more to say about that. As far as Lio Rush versus Finn Balor, good match, solid fight. I'm not going to take much about it. I know Didi Woodson and Michael Bullock are probably happy to hear the mouthpiece get shut up for once. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So Balor needs to look strong. He needs to look like a contender. And to me, I think it's going to happen. But I think it's going to be Lashley versus Balor at WrestleMania. They just got to kind of prolong it a little bit. So we'll see what happens. Nothing more to say. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll give it about 2 stars for the match, with maybe 2.5 for the Lio Rush and Finn Balor match. I mean, it was really good. Nothing really much to write home about. I mean, yes, I'm glad Finn Balor beat the crap out of that little idiot Lio Rush. I mean, I can't stand that piece of crap whose mouth is so loud. I mean, you can't even hear yourself think. Yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. Didi Woodson, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'll go about 2 stars. I'm probably one of the biggest Finn Balor marks right now, and this definitely serves some justice on Lio Rush. So now we'll see if Lashley actually honors what he said of giving Finn Balor a title match. But the way things are going right now, I kind of doubt it. So we'll just kind of have to see what happens here. So not much more I'm going to say about it. Florio, it's yours.
Okay. Now we move on to, the return of the Moment of Bliss with Alexa Bliss and her guest tonight, EC3. EC3, it looks like they were having a little flirty moment there. But then Nia Jax and Tamina interrupt. But then, wait, there's more. Dean Ambrose shows up. And Ambrose I think we saw a little bit of the funny haha Dean Ambrose when it came to the Nia Jax moment. But then he went out and then he healed it back up going after EC3, and they exchanged some words, and then it led into a match, EC3 against Dean Ambrose, and look at this. EC3 actually wins the match in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So MF, I mean, what do we think about all this? I mean, first EC3 apparently gets flirted on by Alexa Bliss, and now he beats a former champion in Dean Ambrose, one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, well, okay. Let's take everything into account. First off, EC3, welcome to the main roster. That's what you wanted it to do. Very impressive. Nice job. Him flirting with Alexa Bliss, I think that's kind of a wash. I don't think. But then again, there were talk about maybe that they're going to turn Alexa face and have her be a good girl now. Maybe that's the start of it. We don't know. Maybe be nice and chummy, very nice, very cool. Or maybe she just has a crush on EC3. I mean, he is a... well, I'm not going to say. Maybe Dee Dee Woodson will say something about, EC3 and his looks. I'm not going there. But as far as wrestling talent, he's a good athlete, a good performer. Definitely was very high in NXT. Was really made his big name in TNA and Impact Wrestling. He was really a major player there. Anthony, you know that better than anybody else because we cover it almost all the time. And at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, Ambrose was rumored that he is leaving WWE after WrestleMania. That's all been almost all but confirmed. But now there's some people that says, not so fast. We'll see what happens. But, nice win, beating a former world champion in Dean Ambrose, and definitely nothing more to say about that. So, no, I think this was a nice little showcase for EC3. No doubt about it. So, the moment with Bliss, nothing but bad. I got nothing bad to say about it. I thought it was pretty good for what it was worth, but you don't want him to talk. You want to see him in the ring and see what he brings to the table. To me, not bad. Like to see a little more, but I hope the match would have been a little more longer, but good first impression in my mind on the main roster. Pretty good fight. I'll give this about 1 to 1.5 because it was really short, but nothing more to say. And Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, about 1.5. I do agree with that rating. I mean, yeah, I thought in the short amount of time, I thought EC3 looked good. So, yeah, I mean, Fletch pretty much touched on everything. So I'm just going to give it to Dee Dee Woodson.
Yeah, I'll agree with the rating. And yeah, it was kind of funny. Dean Ambrose comes out and says, that Nia's been flirting with him and stuff, and it sounded like Renee was going to, have a cow up there. Because I don't think she knew what he was going to say, but it was still a good segment. Who doesn't like when you basically kind of have all hell break loose on a stage? And no, we didn't get to hear really anything from EC3 other than him yelling his initials during the match. But still, it was a good. For being as short as it was a good match and a good segment. So, not much more I'm going to say about it. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. EC3 getting a win over Ambrose must have looked better on paper than in execution. It felt like the type of quick and fluky win you'd give an upstart wrestler more than it was intended to be a star-making moment. So that was about a 1 to 1.5 for that one. I agree with MF's rating there. And I was initially I was like, ugh, they're bringing back the Bliss Talk Show. I mean, with the exception of one installment, I wasn't really a fan of it, but that one was actually halfway decent. So that's all I can say on that. Now to the main event: Kurt Angle and Braun Strowman against Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin. McIntyre and Corbin pick up the win by disqualification in 12 minutes and 15 seconds. I mean, I don't know what kind of a match finish that was, but, you know, Corey Graves explained it as best as he could, but it's just not consistent with what we've seen in countless matches. Seconds earlier, McIntyre broke up a fall, and if nothing else, it was good to see an Angle match end without him taking a humiliating loss. And maybe they're building up to a big redemption moment for him. So it's obviously an NA. I know MF, Bullock, and Didi will agree with me on this. It's obviously an NA because they threw it out, and that's really all there was to say about it. I mean, that one was nothing to write home about, if I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, so that's really all I can say on that. I'm throwing that one out because I don't feel that's really anything we need to get into because, you know, it was a snoozer like a lot of the stuff on this show tonight. So, yeah. So, it's really all I can say on that. I mean, this show tonight had, you know, had more slow and uneventful moments than usual. Didn't really set up much for the Chamber. They did fill the 3 hours in an interesting manner, though. I mean, I'll give them that. So, taking all that into account, Michael Bullock, how would you rate this show tonight?
Man, I don't know. What did he give it?
I probably would go maybe 5, maybe. What about you?
I'm
Maybe
gonna
lower?
go. I'm gonna go about 4.5 when it comes to this. I mean, yeah, you did have some highlights, but the thing is, I mean, we saw a lot more lowlights when it comes to it. So that's why, to me, I gotta give it 4.5. So,
Yeah.
did Didi go?
She's going to go right now.
All right, so it's yours.
Yeah, it was definitely a snoozer. And with the way my day went today, you know, I would have loved to have gone to sleep instead of watched it. Since my day goes from 5:30 in the morning until whenever we get done, and then 5:30 the next morning. So yeah, I can pretty much kind of relate with Bullock's rating. I mean, the highest I probably could go would be about 4.5 because it just seemed like it dragged.
Oh, yeah.
The matches were just really. There just wasn't anything enlightening about it. I mean, I really can't even tell you what the match of the night would be because they just all kind of stunk in different ways. You know, you had some pretty good backstage stuff. I'm not too sure what in the heck they're doing with Mojo talking to himself, but I don't know if it's supposed to be a motivational speech to himself or what. It's just kind of weird. And it looks like now he's starting to answer himself, which pretty much kind of clarifies that he's gone crazy. Alicia Fox, we already knew she was loonier than a Looney Tune. Nikki Cross definitely seems very legit in the way she comes off with her craziness. You know, I'll agree she definitely is better at it than Alicia Fox. I'm going to address one throwback segment from last week since I wasn't on last week. Because they did the, you know, little promo thing from last week on Rollins and Lesnar. And the first thing that popped in my head watching that, and I know the guys are going to, you know, it's going to click, especially with Bullock. Go back to the fight with Jeff Hardy and Undertaker. And you tell me that that's not kind of the direction they went with that segment. Because that, I remember Jeff Hardy hanging on to the ropes and saying, "I'm not down yet." And that was his moment that he got Undertaker's respect. And, you know, I know he didn't get Lesnar's respect, but I mean, that was the segment or the moment that pops in my head seeing that is, we're kind of going back in that direction. It seems like that's a lot of what WWE's been doing lately is you're bringing up the past. And how many times have we harped on, bring the new guys up and stop, so much depending on the Hall of Famers and the legends to come in. And, here we have Jeff Jarrett and Road Dogg trying to, help, I guess, get Elias higher on the roster card. And, I mean, it's just, it ended up being, not the best thing in the world having them there. More of a comic relief because you're hearing, songs and stuff that they've done years ago and stories from years ago. And, it's just not, the best thing in the world. And here we are, we're like 2 weeks out from Elimination Chamber, and they're still giving us, yesterday's news. You're not getting anything new. You're not getting any build up for what's supposed to be one of the bigger pay-per-views because, of some of the, you've got Daniel Bryan's title that's going to be on the line. You've got the ladies new tag teams that are going to be coming out on this. You got several big matches, and you're not even promoting really anything for it other than, I think the only thing came out of it was Ladies Chamber because of the fact that you had that one match there. So I'm sorry. I mean, this definitely was a snoozer. It definitely not something you want to see this close to pay-per-view. And if this is what they're feeding us, I'm sorry. I'm not looking forward to the go-home show. So, like I said, I'll agree with Bullock about 4.5 stars. So I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow night. So good night.
All right, good night, Edie. 4 out of 10. Bring back the Bret Hart not impressed meme. As a matter of fact, I could probably go even lower than that. I could probably give this somewhere between 2 to 3. I mean, this was not a good show tonight. I mean, this show made last night's Super Bowl look like a 5-star classic, for goodness sakes. I mean, oh my goodness. I mean, the halftime heat, let me tell you about that. The halftime heat was a 5-star classic, Shakespearean drama at its absolute finest. Some of the sickest and most insane spots you'll ever see. That alone was better than anything on this show tonight. I mean, the only real thing that really stood out to me tonight was that opening segment with Stephanie McMahon and Becky Lynch. I mean, that was far and away the most entertaining thing on this show here tonight. If I had to pick a match of the night, I would probably by default give it to that Fatal 4-Way tag team match that the Revival won. I mean, that to me I felt was the only fight that really did anything for me tonight. All the other matches were just there. I mean, we had, way too many cutouts as usual. Some of the segments were boring, and, that's really all I can say on that. So, this is what I like to call a back to reality edition of Monday Night Raw. And every time I have to go back to reality, I'll be honest, I'm not happy about it. So, but, in the immortal words of Bautista, we have to deal with it and soldier up and just move on. So, reset button time. That's all I can say on that. So let's hit the reset button, and hopefully next week we can, go back to having a solid and newsworthy show. So 2 to 3 for me. I could go worse than that, but the only real saving grace was Stephanie and Becky. That's it. MF.
I'll give it 3 stars. Yeah, it was a bad show, no doubt about it. Thanks, Florio. You just gave SmackDown Live the opening that we needed. Last week, SmackDown didn't really deliver at all. And unfortunately, I openly admit it. Monday Night Raw won last week. It looks like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. This time, Raw ended up getting goosed. So let's hopefully SmackDown Live tomorrow will get gandered, and we got some good stuff coming. We got a couple of really good matches that's been highlighted. Well, I guess I'll save it for the Mikey's mind for the preview of the Cerebral Smack Talk. So I'll save it later on. Anthony, it's time for your Tony's Take, 205 Live, and Impact Wrestling. So let's go.
It's my recaps. I'm not really into doing the star ratings anymore because I usually don't have time to watch these shows, with my work commitments and everything else. So, but let's get into it. 205 Live. We had Kalisto squaring off against Mike Kanellis. Kalisto wins the match. Then there was an in-ring segment with Drew Gulak and Jack Gallagher as they welcome the newest addition to the 205 Live roster, Humberto Carrillo. Let me tell you, you got to keep an eye on that young man. That young man has breakout potential. That's all I can say on that. You got to watch that one. And then you had Akira Tozawa against Hideo Itami. Akira Tozawa wins the match, and that's pretty much it for that. So definitely sounded like a solid show to me. So, of course, 205 Live has done what it always does, remain consistent. So that's all I can really say on that. So, Impact Wrestling now, and as we continue with the shows from Mexico City, and we started it out with the Lucha Brothers and Taurus against LAX and Daga in a 6-man tag. The Luchas and Taurus pick up the win. And this Friday night on Impact Wrestling, LAX and the Luchas are going to square off again for the World Tag Team Championships. Now, if this is anything like the Homecoming match, we're in for something really special because they stole the show at Homecoming. That's all I can say on that. They announced that they're going to be back on pay-per-view on Sunday night, April the 28th. They're going to present Rebellion. That's what they're calling it. And it'll take place in Toronto, the Rebel Entertainment Complex, a return visit. So we'll see how that goes. Tessa Blanchard on February 15th will get her rematch for the Knockouts Championship against Taya Valkyrie. Kiera Hogan and Jordan Grace went up against Dark Alley and Sue Young. Kiera Hogan and Jordan Grace pick up the win. Then we had Eddie Edwards and Eli Drake against the Rascals. Eddie Edwards and Eli Drake pick up the win. Psycho Clown against Falaba. Psycho Clown wins the match. No comment. And then the main event, we had Brian Cage and Johnny Impact against Killer Cross and Moose. And Killer Cross and Moose pick up the win in that one. So that's all that went down on the last Impact Wrestling. So what's on tap for this week? What are we gonna see on Friday night at 10 p.m. On the Pursuit channel for those of us who have it, or on Twitch for some of you who don't have the Pursuit channel. Trey Miguel will go up against Rohit Raju. Rich Swann and Willie Mack against OVE. Kiera Hogan against Dark Alley 1-on-1. Sami Callihan against Puma King. And then the main event, LAX defending the tag team championships against the Lucha Brothers. From what I heard, it was another insane match. I can't wait to see how this one goes down. If it's anything like the Homecoming match, we're in for something really special. So that will put the bow on that, and I'll put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. I know it was a boring show, and I apologize for that. But hey, when they give us, nonsense like this, I mean, it is what it is. So reset button time. So let's hit that reset button, and let's get a damn good show next week. Although I'm not holding my breath on it. So, all right, MF, come on in. Let's set the table for Cerebral Smack Talk. I mean, we got not one but two incredible Elimination Chamber preview matches, both of which I'm excited about.
Yes, indeed. And not only that, we also got a third match that's added to the card. It's going to be a tag team fight. The Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, goes up against the tag team of Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura. And guys, get used to this team because they're going to be a tag team now. Nakamura and Rusev are going to be working together a lot more coming up in the near future on SmackDown Live. So get ready for that. And then Anthony, you said it best. 4 of the 6 men that will be involved in the men's elimination chamber match for the WWE Championship. First fight, Randy Orton goes one-on-one with the rising star of 205 Live, now rising star of SmackDown Live, Mustafa Ali. And then Jeff Hardy, the charismatic enigma, goes one-on-one with WWE champion, the new Daniel Bryan, in what I believe will probably be the main event of the evening. Plus, on top of that, we're going to get a little more of the Usos as they continue their build with Shane McMahon and The Miz as it relates to Elimination Chamber. And also, supposedly, Charlotte Flair, Asuka, and there's a rumor maybe Becky Lynch showing up on SmackDown Live tomorrow. I don't know. She is advertised to be at Everett, Washington. That's where SmackDown Live will be. And then, of course, there is really no Mikey's Mindset. If I find some articles or some news stuff, I might have something for you. I think there was an RWA show that went down last weekend, so I might have to pull results. I'm going to try to get a hold of my buddy Corey Lincourt. And and that's it. So if there's any news and views on the SmackDown side, we'll do it 10:30 Eastern tomorrow night. Until then, it's Michael Fletcher. You know the routine. Hugs and hand pounds. I'm out. Have a good night. Anthony, take it home.
All right. So that's it for that. And then from there, Friday night, Strictly Sports. It's all about Super Bowl weekend. We're going to recap Super Bowl weekend, with the awards, all the award winners from NFL Honors. We'll also address the class of 2019 for the NFL Hall of Fame. And in the main event of that, of course, we will have our Super Bowl recap. I mean, you notice we didn't do one last night. I mean, all of us were spent. I mean, Bullock and myself especially, with the great gathering that we had at his place. I mean, along with our fellow crew members, Mike and Brian Keenan, and the newest member of our broadcast team, Mike Silvera, a welcome addition. Let me say that. And MF with what he had going on. So we're saving the Super Bowl recap for Friday night. So we're doing it there. And then we will have our newest NHL Power Rankings on top of that. So that's it. So that's Friday night. And then from there, next week, Ridiculously Raw. We'll see what happens. So that's it, guys. So until tomorrow night at 10:30 for the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF, it's Anthony Floyo here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, Didi Woodson and Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And until Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on Zone 25 on YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Floyo, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.